So you have this pilot, Leul Abate, and this guy is the definition of a seasoned pro. He's 42 years old, been flying forever. But the crazy part is, this isn't his first rodeo. He's already been hijacked twice before in his career and managed to talk both situations down peacefully. No one hurt, planes were fine. But this third time, on this particular flight in November 1996, things were different. About 20 minutes after they take off from Ethiopia, just as they're hitting cruising altitude, everything goes sideways. Three guys, young, inexperienced, and apparently drunk on whiskey, come charging up the aisle. They storm the cockpit, grab a fire axe and a fire extinguisher off the wall, and just start wailing on the first officer, Jonas Makuria, beating him so badly they force him out into the main cabin. Then they turn to Leul, claiming they have a bomb, which, by the way, turns out to be a covered-up bottle of liquor, and they give him their one and only demand: fly us to Australia. Now, Leul, being the experienced pilot he is, stays calm and tries to reason with them. He's like, listen, I understand, but we physically cannot do that. This plane was only fueled for a 2-hour flight to Nairobi, not a 12-hour trip across the entire Indian Ocean. He even offers to land in Mombasa, Kenya, which is a perfectly logical solution. But these guys, they're not just hijackers, they're profoundly, dangerously ignorant. They think he's lying, that it's all a trick to get them arrested. And get this, their entire conviction, their whole plan is based on something one of them read in the airline's own in-flight magazine. They literally pull out the magazine, flip to the page with the fleet specs, and point to where it says the Boeing 767 has a maximum flying time of 11 hours. They're waving this glossy paper in his face, convinced they've caught him in a lie, completely unable to grasp the concept of fuel load versus maximum theoretical range. It's a level of stupid that's almost impossible to argue with. So Leul has to play a different game. He pretends to agree. But instead of turning east toward Australia, he starts flying south, hugging the African coastline, trying to keep an airport within range for as long as possible. He's buying time, hoping for an out. But after a couple of hours, they notice land is still visible out the window, and they freak out, forcing him to turn out over the open ocean. His options are gone. His only hope now is a tiny, remote chain of islands called the Comoros that he secretly sets a course for, praying they have enough fuel to make it. As the hours tick by, the fuel gauges drop to empty, and then the inevitable happens. The right engine flames out. While the lead hijacker is distracted, Leul grabs the PA system and makes a desperate announcement to the passengers. "We have run out of fuel. We are expecting a crash landing. I ask all passengers to react to the hijackers." It was a last-ditch plea for a passenger revolt, but it was too late. The hijacker hears him, rushes back, and knocks the microphone out of his hand just as the second engine dies. The plane is now a glider, and the cockpit descends into chaos. It becomes a literal fist fight for the controls. The hijackers are grabbing the yoke, kicking the rudder pedals, trying to make the plane go up when there are no engines to make it go anywhere. The first officer, Jonas, in an incredible act of courage, forces his way back onto the flight deck to help his captain fight them off. Leul is trying to line up for a ditching in the shallow water just off a tourist beach, but because of the physical struggle, he loses sight of the airport and can't get the plane stable. As they come in hot, over 200 miles per hour, the fight for the controls leaves the plane banked just 10 degrees to the left. That tiny angle is all it takes. The left wingtip hits the water first, digs into a coral reef, and the entire 767 cartwheels violently, shattering into pieces right in front of vacationers who were filming what they thought was an air show. In the end, 125 people died. And the most tragic part? A huge number of them, maybe 60 to 80 people, actually survived the impact, but drowned because in the panic, they had inflated their life vests inside the cabin. When the water rushed in, the buoyancy pinned them to the ceiling and they couldn't escape. All three hijackers died in the crash they caused. But somehow, after all that, Leul Abate and his first officer, Jonas Makuria, survived.